Pimp, The Story of My Life by Iceberg Slim. It is a memoir, and it's staying on the shelf. About midway from the bottom, which is where good but not great books go. So, Pimp, The Story of My Life by Iceberg Slim. Let's talk a little about it. It was originally published in 1969. Basically covers about 3 decades worth of this man's life, the 40s, 50s, and 50s. And, wow. It's got a lot going on. I've never read a memoir or autobiography or biography quite like it. It was a page-turner, for sure. So if you're looking for entertainment, I would say it probably goes a little more higher up on the shelf, but it definitely isn't top shelf for me. Basically, I don't think there's going to be any spoilers here that I'm going to give you, but it chronicles the life of a man who was aspiring to be a pimp and was, according to some, one of the best pimps that ever lived. It is just loaded with tons of jargon and diction that to the point where there is an extensive glossary here that I needed to reference a couple times. I had to use a search engine multiple times to find out what some of these phrases meant or certain words and contexts because they weren't in the glossary. So the glossary could have been probably double what it actually is there, which is already I don't remember how many pages it is, but it could have been a lot bigger because I found that I came up empty-handed in the glossary and had to go to Google in order to try and find out what he was saying, because sometimes from the context alone I couldn't figure it out. There are certain just terms and definitions, just certain statements, certain things that are being defined, whether they be acts or whatever else, that I'm just like, I don't know what that means. And he's saying it like I should know, and I don't know. But enough of the technicalities. It's well written. I mean, it moves fairly quickly. Like I said, if you are just in it for entertainment and entertainment only, and this is the type of entertainment that you would like, which is a very gritty account of this man's life in his own words, then of a life of a pimp, right? I mean, there are certain things that you would expect with that. And this book has sex and drugs and theft and encounters with the law and violence, etc. So if that kind of grungy, real, raw storytelling appeals to you, then, like I said, I think you'd put this higher up on your shelf. It was entertaining, and I didn't know what I was going to get out of it, but I did think I was going to get more out of it because it is a memoir. And I find that with memoirs, I really enjoy reading them, but a lot of the time I hope to walk away with some nuggets, some learnings, some recollections of growth. And here, there was very little of that. It did, in some ways, read just more of a story than it did a memoir. A lot of the time, he was just recounting what happened and not about his feelings about what happened. There wasn't a lot about his beginnings before pimping. There's a little bit about his history that was incredibly necessary, so that was good that there was there from his youth and his home life and his family, but that did not stick. And I think it could have been a little bit more fleshed out. The ending also was incredibly abrupt. If I said, like, I don't know, 10% of the book might have been, this is where I came from and this is why, like, I am the way I am, or the way I was, or why I was interested in pimping, or whatever. This 10% of my origin story that is before the pimping began, then the after pimping was about 1% of the book. It was so small, And I think he missed a real opportunity there to really express some things. He seems remorseful from time to time, but it's very few and far between. And I don't think it's necessarily because he isn't remorseful or he wishes things were different or that he didn't have moments of growth and realization. I think he had them, he just didn't write them. He was very focused on telling his story of being a pimp, which is what the book is about, right? But it is also called The Story of My Life. Now, he did go on to write more books after this, most of which are pretty autobiographical. So maybe he realized, or again, maybe this was just editing, publisher pressure, who knows, that what they wanted cut out. But yeah, how I even got into this book, I think I heard it referenced by Dave Chappelle, and I don't remember what he said, but it got me interested. And so I got it a couple years ago as a gift, and yeah, finally got around to reading it. And again, it was entertaining. It reads like a story of that era, of that subculture, of, you know, like, I don't think you will be incredibly surprised by the content, but there are times where it is eye-opening and I won't say jaw-dropping, but there are times I'm like, wow, that was cold, right? Like, that's, wow, okay, like, that's some realness. The language in the book definitely fluctuates at times from more formal to very colloquial. So sometimes that can be a bit jarring because I'm trying to understand why he chose to write in that style or in that way when he could have expressed it differently, because he shows that he possesses the ability to do that, and that's just me valuing a certain type of expression. I basically already told you who it was for and who would enjoy this book. I have just such a wide variety of things I enjoy that I definitely did enjoy it. I liked the storytelling. I wish that there was more of that other element that went deeper and was more layered and talked about more of his learnings and understandings and his growth as a person. I feel like even if that was just 10%, like the last 10% of the book, I would be pretty happy. I mean, it's more about the quality of the words than the quantity, but it ended incredibly abruptly, and then the aftermath or the discussion of I put that life behind me and here's where I am now was just so incredibly short. But like I said, it's staying on the shelf, kind of midway for me. It is good, not great, but it is fairly entertaining. Absolutely.